We're with Norm Spaeth with Pacific Coast Canola here in southeast Washington. And Norm, the canola craze is starting to increase here as we hear more and more about canola migrating south from Canada. And Pacific Coast Canola now just building a new $110 million plant, the first west of the Rockies. So there must be some demand for canola then, huh?
Well, what we're seeing, Bill, it's primarily driven by oil, and there's probably three things that have occurred in the last 5 or 6 or 7 years that has increased the demand for canola oil. One is just kind of a recognition on the part of the public in general that the healthier aspects of canola oil, it's a function of the fatty action structure of the oil. The second is the recognition of the trans fat that canola and some combinations of oils with other oils that will give a lower trans fat content than what's traditionally found with hydrogenated soybean oil. And the third is biodiesel demand has increased demand for all oils. And so that's not just soybean or canola or whatever, but it's just an overall increased demand for the oils.
You're making the most of your canola bean. You're also using it for meal for animals too, right?
That's correct. Yeah, 60% of what we process as canola turns into canola meal. And we're a little different than the traditional canola processing plants. We have a higher oil content canola meal, which brings certain benefits to, we're looking at primarily dairy cattle in the area. All canola meal is demanded by dairy cattle, or certainly is a source of raw material for dairy cattle. And one of the benefits that we have here in Washington, or one of the things we want to bring to the meal customer, which is primarily dairy cattle, is local sourcing of canola meal. Whereas rather than be at the end of a transportation line of rail cars bringing canola meal out of Canada, is they can come to our plant right in Warden, Washington, and pick up their meal. That's there, and we'll have meal pretty much available every day of the week.
So for a dairy producer, not necessarily here in the West, but anywhere in the United States or this world that hasn't tried using canola in their feed ration, what could you tell them? Should they talk to their nutritionist to try to see if canola might work for them?
They should. They should talk to their nutritionist and not to me when it comes into that aspect of it. Yeah, I would strongly recommend that. I think there's lots of ways to formulate their feed, but canola meal and our higher oil content canola meal brings things that brings benefit that they should explore.